are live. And we are live. Okay, 1 second. Sorry. Okay, folks, pardon me. YouTube does not make this simplistic to go live. And this is like our 5th one, and I'm still all thumbs with it. So that's my excuse for the day. Happy Sunday. Thanks for coming. If you're here, whoever's not here, please raise your hand. If you're here, we can get this going. So I'm getting a lot of glare on that side. So I wonder why that is. Anyway, let me go ahead and just do this. Let me set up what I need to set up. I'll be right back. Okay, thank you for your patience. We are ready, and I hope we're recording on our other one. Anywho, my name's Jack. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to another talk, and we've got a good one today. I'm feeling really good today. July 5th, Sunday. I feel really good. It's also my birthday, July 5th. So that means you got to be nice to me today. I'm just kidding. Okay. It is my birthday. I'm 64 today. So whatever that means. But anyway, good morning and welcome. And we're going to have a good time. I got to tell you about this. This is pretty amazing. Let me ask you a personal question. Have you ever laid awake at night thinking about someone who hurt you? They hurt you psychologically. They hurt you emotionally. Maybe they didn't lay a finger on you. Maybe they didn't cause a welt or break a bone or give you a black eye. Maybe it was nothing physical, but they hurt you. It still hurt, right? If this is you, then this talk is for you, because we're going to be talking about that. Have you ever asked yourself, why can't I stop thinking about this person? Right? Might have been somebody in your home, at work, at school, down the street, the neighbor. It might have been somebody. There's a store manager at my favorite grocery store. He's the manager at that store. About a year ago, he screamed at me and for doing nothing. And I clocked him instantly. I go, oh, another one, narcissist. They scream to try to regain control. That when they scream, it means I'm losing control, right? So this person might have been anywhere. Maybe they lied to you, they manipulated you, they screamed at you, they raised their voice at you. I mean, we're adults, right? Why are you raising your voice? You're nuts. You're crazy. They must have run out of room at the insane asylum, huh? They really must have, because they are out. Whoa, are they out? They're out there. So none of that's never, ever much fun, is it? Like you, I've had narcissists scream at me. I could probably list a dozen times over the years, from a little boy on. I never knew what it was. It's just somebody's unhappy. They're upset, so they came, right? Nothing that you do. It's just loading them. The volcano goes off and the lava lands on you, but it's them. They have no emotional regulation. So they scream to try to recollect themselves, regain control of themselves. That's what that scream is. It's really not about you at all. So screaming is it's what they do. It's how they do that. It's how they try to regain control. They don't care if they hurt you in the process. They couldn't care less because they have no conscience. Remember Jiminy Cricket from Walt Disney? Always let your conscience be your guide. Narcissists, they don't care. They have no conscience at all. They are devoid of conscience. So they can do anything to anybody and go home and sleep like a baby, right? All that matters to them is that they regain control. That's it, right? They can scream at you and then carry on like nothing ever happened. Oh, the next day, they conveniently forget everything. And meanwhile, you're going like, oh my God, I hate you so much. Why do I have to live in the same house as you or whatever? For a while, we do. We're stuck with these people under the same roof because how do you know until that monster starts coming out of them? Up until that monster stayed inside of them, you never knew there was anything wrong with them. In fact, you thought they were pretty good. They put on a pretty good act. And the Oscar goes to fill in the blank, right? Your favorite narcissist. And they scream at you and you're left there shaking as a result of them screaming. You're like, oh my God, that's so emotionally, it rips you to your core. Like, I think you just screamed my soul out of me. And that right there might be what they're actually after. A narcissist has no soul. You need to learn right now, you need to realize that just because a human being is walking around on two legs, it doesn't mean that they have a soul at all. I used to think that for the longest time. There's a human being. They're just like me. They have a soul. They have an essence. They have a spirit. In Spanish, alma, they have alma. I think Latin too, and Italian. Alma is your spirit, your alma, your spirit. But they don't have one. So if they don't have one, they're going to be jealous of anyone who does have one, right? Narcissists are extremely jealous people. They know there's something wrong with them. They put on a good act, like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. It's everybody else. It's the other 8 billion who have issues, not me. I'm the perfect one. But they know. They know. They can sense it. They're detectives, those people. They're really, really sharp detectives because they've had to detect emotion from other people their whole life so they can feed. So they don't self-observe like that's you'll see that coming up. That's your self-observation, your self-awareness is what saves you from these people. You stay with yourself and then anything can be happening outside of you and you won't care because you're with yourself. But they can't do that. They never go inside of themselves. They go only on the exterior. So when their exterior seems like it's falling apart, they scream, they react. Well, we can't have that happen. Like if you question one of them, they don't like being questioned. They hate it. Okay. You know all this, right? You're sensing it. It's dawning on you, right? So it's no fun spending any time at all with these people. Any time at all. It is no fun. No fun at all. So this narcissist that you can't get out of your mind, or narcissists plural, these people who hurt you repeatedly, this person or people who hurt you repeatedly, you knew they weren't good for you, right? or you know that now, or you're dealing with one right now, or you're living with one right now. And deep down, you know they're not right for you. And yet your mind, like they rent space in your mind. Like you and I allow, pardon me, you and I allow them to rent space for free. We give them space in our mind. Why do we do that? Why do I do that? Why do I waste my time and energy, my precious time, thinking about a degenerate, a vile, low, degenerate human being? Why are they in my head? And I'm about to tell you why. We replay conversations. We wonder, God, what happened? What happened? Right? We wonder if they were family, a family member, whether they ever really cared for us, or maybe a close friend for years. But then their narcissistic monster started coming out of them. There's someone I knew. We were tight. We were close from 8th grade on, and we did a lot of things together. We traveled. We did a lot of things together. And then when I was about 15 years ago, he and I started communicating again. You know, years pass, you go out and you do your thing, you run your career. And he changed, and not for the better. He changed for the worst. And I never, ever knew it because I didn't know what a narcissist was. I just thought that's him. And Mark had changed a lot worse. And I'm like, oh, wow, you're one of them. Because when we met later, I knew what narcissists were. I never even heard the word when I was a kid, when we were, hanging around, being good friends. So you wonder if they ever really cared for you. You wonder if they miss you now. You wonder if you'll ever get over them, if you'll ever stop thinking about them. And today, I want to suggest something that might surprise you. You and I, we do not keep thinking about these narcissists because we loved them too much. We keep thinking about them. They keep coming to mind because my mind is still trying to solve a puzzle that never made sense. And boy, are these narcissistic degenerates a puzzle. That's putting it lightly, isn't it? Is there a more, what is it? Miscombobulated, chaotic, screwed up, messed up, psychologically, emotionally hurting person on this planet? Is there anyone who's more of that than a narcissist? I don't know. Malignant narcissist, which leads to psychopathy and or sociopath. It can, in bad cases. My adoptive father was a malignant narcissist, and I'm pretty sure because I've read the psychopathy, I'm pretty sure he was borderline or crossing into psychopath. My adoptive father, who was physically abusive, not to his two natural born children, but to me, his eldest son. Apparently he had it in for me. He didn't touch his eldest was my sister. That was his first child, and then they adopted me, and then they had naturally my younger brother. So there's 3 of us. He came after me physically, not once, not twice. I mean, you're gonna do that to somebody you live with, to your son, to a baby that you adopted? Anyway, I'm not here to get into any of that crap. But I'm just trying to paint the picture of these people are effing sick. Okay. And you know that. So let's not ever lose sight of that. Let's not discount that. They are sick. In a perfect world, they'd be locked up. Whoever said this was a perfect world? It's not. So it has been said, when Satan cannot get you directly, he sends in a narcissist. And I believe that saying to my core. Why? Because I have firsthand experienced that for myself. I know that from myself. It's a fact. Okay. So why do you and I keep thinking about these people? Why do we allow them to rent space in our minds for free? Because the human mind hates unfinished business. So that's my mind, my mind and my false self. My true self could not care less. My true self wants to just relax and enjoy and have a good time and just go about and have fun and do what I need to do in life to enjoy myself. That's the true self. That's the self that we get to when we are self-observing. Because when we're focused on self-observation and waking up emotionally and psychologically, we don't care about the degenerates of this world. We couldn't care less. We focus on them only when we don't know what to do with ourselves, rightly do with ourselves, which is to be self-observing. If I self-observed constantly, I would be in that higher state always, and I wouldn't, what do I care about any, so somebody screamed at me. Oh, well, I mean, you just let it go and move on. But that's easier said than done. These people still end up in our heads, right? Because the mind coupled with the false self, my false self wants to grind over it. Boy, I could have handled that better. Boy, one of these days I'm going to get him. Revenge, right? Revenge is a dish best served cold, right? So our minds crave understanding. Mentally, we want things to be resolved. We want closure in relationships. Okay, I'm done with you. I'm leaving you. Bye. We want to say that to the narcissist. Now, never contact me again. I'm leaving. You stay here. I'm leaving. Or you get out. I'm staying. Goodbye. Get out. I'm never going to think about you again. We want closure. We want something to end because something began. We remember when it began. Oh, we went out, we met at the store, or we met at the park, or we met somewhere, and then we went on our first date. All those things, we remember the beginning. So we want like bookends, like on your shelf, you have books. We want one bookend holds the books up here, and another bookend holds the books up here. We want bookends. We want finality. Dealing with narcissists, you're not going to get that. And we'll get into that too. So the mind craves understanding. We want reasons why we do things. We want explanations to our questions. We want closure to our relationships. We want answers to our questions. But narcissistic relationships do not provide these things. Narcissistic relationships, even we didn't know we were getting into a relationship or a friendship or an association or an acquaintance, or it's a neighbor, or have you ever got into it with a neighbor and you were like, oh my God, this person's really screwed up. My friend Terry, who taught me how to self-observe, he was one of my best teachers. Terry told me, he would tell the class too, collectively, He said, have nothing to do with your neighbors. He said that a lot, and he was right. Have nothing to do with them. These people are not good, right? But you got to figure this out for yourself. So narcissistic relationships do not, they leave us with contradictions, confusion, mixed signals, unanswered questions. That's the nature of this agent of Satan. Remember, we just said when Satan can't get you direct, he sends in a narcissist. Why? Because narcissists are agents of Satan. They come from the depths of hell. Okay. I'm using colorful language, but it's fairly descriptive. If you have ever dealt with one of them, you understand. I have to paint a picture, but I have to use words, and words are finite in meaning. They can only go so far. But you remember what that person was like. Maybe it was a roommate. I remember having roommates in the past many years ago, and I was like, what's wrong with that guy? Or what's wrong with her? I thought they were cool. I thought they were like normal people. But now that we're living together, I remember I lived in a house a few blocks from a beach in San Diego. It was a 4-bedroom house with other people, and they had their friends were coming in and out and all that. And I remember this one girl moved in, and we were all, oh, she's really cute, and all that. But she turned out to be nuts. We were like, how do we get rid of her? How do we get her out? So we'd hold these clandestine meetings, and what are we going to do? How are we finally, the owner of the house, we had to tell Ed, hey, look, you got to tell her to get out, and we'll pay you. We'll pay her rent. We just need her out because she's nuts. They called her wheat germ because in the morning, one of the things that she did, among many, she'd be up at like 5 a.m. in the kitchen with a blender, blending her. She was like one of these fitness freaks. It's good to be a fitness freak, but she really turned it on. And one of her things was, where's my wheat germ? Like she'd have to be putting all these things into her protein shake smoothie. Where I can't find my wheat germ. Did any of you guys see my wheat germ? So we called her wheat germ. It's pretty funny. She was not well loved. You know what I mean? You're young and you don't know these things, but after a while you get a taste and you're like, these people are nuts. I hate to imagine whatever happened to wheat germ. If she was ever really got into really bad shape, I would not be shocked. So my mind keeps returning to thoughts of this relationship, whether, no matter what kind of relationship it was with the narcissist, because the mind thinks, if I just think about this a little bit longer, maybe I will finally understand it, because the mind wants to come into balance. The mind wants to be, there's a word, equilibrium or whatever. The mind wants closure. The mind wants finality. The mind wants something to be balanced. But if you're dealing with one of these psychos, one of these super sickos, it's not normal. It's not like a normal person. Okay, Billy. Okay, Mary. Normal people, whatever. Okay, that's the end of our friendship, relationship, whatever. And then that's it. No, they're ultra psycho inside of them. So their psychoness tends to, like, it leaves residue on us. Like the TV commercials, do you have soap scum on your skin? You're using the wrong soap. So it leaves a residue on us, which might actually be like a warning from nature to, red alert, stay away from these people. They're nuts. So that's why they stick to our mind. The next point on this is that confusion creates obsession. One of the biggest reasons people can't let go of a narcissist is confusion. One day, these people were like so nice to you, so friendly and so helpful. You know, I had this with a neighbor. And then the next day, like they're ignoring you or they're cold or they're like, who are you again or whatever. And one day they praise you and then the next day they attack you. I don't know if you've ever had like that black and white, that hot and cold, that much difference, but you get the idea. So one day they want you close and the next day they push you away or whatever. Or they tell you one thing when you're alone and then other things when there's people around, that kind of a situation. The mind keeps trying to reconcile two completely different people because that's what they are. They are Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Okay. Because they're screwed up. They don't know inside them what or who they are. So how can I know if they don't first know, if they don't have an inner life, which they don't, they're empty. They have feelings, but their feelings don't stay with them, and their feelings, they don't know how to regulate them, how to categorize them, they've never processed feelings. They missed that part of development, that part of growing up. That's why it's such a shock. You see an adult, so I assume that this adult man is going to act like an adult. He is an adult. I see him. He's 6'2", whatever. He's 5'8", you know, or this lady, I'm looking at her. I'm projecting what I am onto her also. I've given so many people in my life, in my history, the benefit of the doubt. Like I'd look at them. Oh, they're just normal people because I'm projecting me onto them. But I was wrong, right? We're not always, sometimes we're right, but we're not always right. How many times have you thought this is just a normal person? I'll get involved with them. I'll be friends with them. They're a neighbor. Yeah, sure. I'll go chat with my neighbor. I remember Mr. Wallstead down the street, and then he was a nice guy. And then like the third time, I'm just a kid. I think I was 8 years old, and he unloads on me. He just screams at me, and you don't know what that is. You're like, okay, that's different. You know, that's something different, Mr. Wallstead, because you dared to upset the apple cart or something, whatever, right? So two completely different people inside of them, at least. There might be more. I've kind of thought of them as like when you peel an orange and then all those wedges, then you take the orange apart and you're like, whoa, look, there's 12 wedges to this orange. Well, that's a narcissist. That's how many times they are split because they don't know who or what they are. So when they go to work, they're one of those wedges. When they go home, they're one of those wedges. When they meet you or they have a meeting, they're one of those. You know, there's always you don't know which wedge you're getting. I'm telling you, like they used to say about, there was I think he played trumpet, jazz trumpet. His name was Stan Getz. He's dead now. Probably good, huh? Getz. You know what they used to say about Stan Getz? They said, Stan, oh yeah, he's a nice bunch of guys. That's what schizoid means. Schizoid means, from Greek, split. Schizoid means split personality. Schizophrenic means split, multi, many. That's the orange. Peel the orange, pull all those pieces apart. That's schizophrenia. It's multi, many, many, many. You don't know which one you're getting. Stan, oh yeah, he's a nice bunch of guys. They're out there. You and I deal with them all the time. And they have a good, they put on a good stage performance until they don't. They're good actors until they turn into a bad actor. And when they're a bad actor, that's when they're hurling their abuse at you, right? But see, if I can learn to clock them, so then I will keep the geographic distance from them. I can look for the patterns in behavior, which is what we're getting into. Once I know it's a narcissist, then you better believe I know what to do. You stay away from that thing. That thing's a wild animal. Oh, it's got sharp teeth, sharp claws. It's crazy. It can hurt you. Sometimes I wake up, I'm up at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I'll take an early walk, and I'll walk in my neighborhood. And we live kind of, we meaning my street, us. I live alone here. Thank God. Thank you, God. But I'll see coyotes out there, and sometimes a raccoon, and it's 4 a.m. and you're out on a street, trees, and the moon was up, like this morning was up, the shadows, and then whoa, there goes, oh, there's a coyote. It's kind of great. It's spooky. It's spooky, creepy kind of. And I always go, hi, baby. Hi, baby. The people who live around here, they're kind of, they yell at the coyotes because sometimes they'll even be out in daylight. What are you yelling at a coyote for? I told this one old lady, she was screaming at the coyote. I said, he was here before us. Why are you screaming at the coyote? He's just hungry. You know, yelling at a coyote. How stupid. But anyway, so pull the camera back. Third point, I need to ask myself, when I deal with this narcissist now or in the past, am I trying to solve an unsolvable puzzle? Yes. Right? Yeah, I'm trying to solve that with my mind. And this really wise man, this great writer named Vernon Howard, he's great. Google him. He's great. He said, don't try to do with your mind what can only be done with the spirit, which is a beautiful sentence. Don't try to do with the mind. I'm trying to solve an unsolvable puzzle. What can only be done with the spirit. So what's he saying? He's saying your mind will never figure out a narcissist. Your essence can, because your essence, when you make contact with your inner self, when you're self-observing, when you're working with self-awareness, when I reach for this pen and I know I'm holding this pen and I'm living in this moment right now, all those nasty memories, that narcissist, whatever, none of that matters. Only this moment right now, and that feeling of aliveness is what matters. The narcissist, I was saying before, can detect, they know that they are dead, that they have no soul, they have no essence. They're screwed up and they know it. They scream at us also because they can also see light, understanding, creativity. The light, awareness, is a creative force. Darkness is a destructive force. The narcissist knows that they are part of destruction. That's another reason that they scream at us. See, you and I have found ourselves associating with dark people. satanic people, devil, demon-possessed human beings. The devil is alive and well on planet Earth. That's why this Earth is in the shape that it is. That's why people fight. Why do people fight? Because human beings are possessed by darkness. Okay, so the devil, evil, darkness works on this planet through human beings. The narcissist is part of the destructive force. You and I, if you're listening to this right now, you have light in you. You have ears that can hear. Remember Christ said, blessed are those with ears to hear and eyes to see. It's also been called a child of the light. You are a child of the light. You are part of the creative force. So let me break it down like this too. Angels and devils, that's easier too. There are angels out there among us. If you are an angel, you can see and you know another angel. There's an angel who lives the next building over from me. She's a very sweet, very nice, skinny little black lady, older. She's probably getting close. She's 75 or 80 right now. She is sweet as apple pie. And that's not her false self. That's her. I hadn't seen her in about 2 or 3 years, and I just bumped into her on a walk. And we chatted for a few moments, and she lit up, and I'm like, honey, because I waved to her. She was way down at the end. I go, hey. And she came up. We talked. So angels know other angels. Devils know other devils too. But the fights that we get into are devil on angel. Devils will find an angel and just start grinding, because an angel is not like a devil. An angel is different, and the devil knows the difference. And the devil, because his or her nature is devilish, lower, they have to attack and try to put out. That's their job from darkness itself, from Satan, from the devil. They have to attack the light. That's why in this world, anytime the light shows, darkness is compelled to attack it. If you are someone of the light, if you are a child of the light, they've been called, if you are an angel, you're going to get attacked. And the payment for spiritual growth is more attack from spiritual dark. And how does the darkness get you? Through human beings. So how do you handle it? Well, you minimize your interaction. Once you clock them and you know what they are, who they are, you minimize your interaction with them. You keep all emotion out of it. You just stay with the facts. You try to get off on your own somewhere. Do all you can. I mean, that's what I did. I can't tell you what to do. I can only tell you what I did. Get off on your own. Because I realized I was married to one. I was married to a dark force person. Not that she didn't try to physically kill me or anything like that, but she just drained me. And I knew it was February, and I told myself, I said, if she stays here, I will not make summer. I'll be dead. She will drain me by then. Okay. So I'm 64 today, and I've really come to that realization that there are angels, and they are few and far between, and there are devils, and there are a lot of devils. Devils are legion. This world is teeming with devils. Okay. If they don't put truth first, they're a devil. That's the defining light. That's how you know. So you tell me how many angels there are out there, because an angel will always just put truth first. First, truth first, last, always. So how many people do you know who are angels, right? So am I trying to solve an unsolvable puzzle when I'm dealing with this narcissist? Yeah. So I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to me. I'm telling myself this right now. Just don't interact with these people. See it, clock it, realize what it is, say, okay, there's another one. Now I'm just going to, because I don't want to give him, if I give him the currency is emotion. The currency that the narcissists deal with is emotion. So don't give them any emotion. If there's no currency, there's no action. Just the facts, in and out. Oh, he needs something. Okay, here are the facts. And now I'm done. Bye. Hello, goodbye. That's it. At work, you're a nasty person. You better start clocking who these people are. And I'll tell you, it's going to be 8 or 9 out of every 10 people you know, it's going to be a devil, meaning they're not good for you. And I know that's a big horse tablet to swallow, but that's the truth. And it might be more than that. It might be 9.9 out of 10 people are bad for you, not good for you. And again, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to myself. I need to hear this. So I forget closure. What I need is clarity. But if I approach the narcissist saying, I want closure, you think I'm going to get closure? That to them is an invitation for another fight, for more arguing, which is how they feed. They feed by arguing. If you know anyone in your life who enjoys arguing, you're looking at a narcissist, plain and simple, right? But my clarity depends on who? Can I ask the narcissist for clarity? No. Can I ask anybody I know for clarity? No. I have to ask myself. My clarity depends on me. That's where my self-responsibility steps up for my clarity, because with clarity, I know exactly what to do. I know exactly what to say. The words will come to you. The words will come to me. Remember that when Christ said, don't even worry about the words, because the correct words will come to you. When the time is right and you need to finally speak, the words will come to you if you're putting self-awareness first, right? Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, then all else will be given unto you. Kingdom of heaven is inside me. So Christ was saying, this is how I want you to live. First, you're going to self-observe. You're going to go through your day self-observing. Always keep it to self-observing. Then, no matter what you run into on the exterior, you'll know how to handle it. And you will be protected. Higher energy itself will protect you. And I'm learning sometimes the best thing to say ever is to say nothing at all. No response. In other words, sometimes I need to keep my big mouth shut. Not easy. But sometimes that's the absolute best thing going. Because if I shut up, the narcissist has nothing to grab onto. They want me to reply. They want me to argue, to fight. They want that. They feed on that. That's what they love. So for closure in that relationship with the narcissist, I need to involve the narcissist. But for clarity, I need to involve only myself and my own self-observation. So am I going to go closure? No, it's closed. It's done. They had their chance. They had their chance to treat you correctly, and they treated you horribly. So, está cerrado. primo. It's closed. Don't look for closure. It's already closed. It's done. Be willing to just close the book and say, I'm done. That book, that chapter of my life, that's what I did. That's how I got my life back. I ended it. She packed up and moved back in with her family. That's where they live, 4 miles south of me. Perfect. I actually go over there on Sunday nights. They invite me for dinner, and we have a good relationship now. We're friends now. We're friendly. We weren't friendly when we were living together. How can you be friendly with a dark force? And you're a force of the light, which means you have your own work that you need to be doing. How can I be doing any of this if she was living here? I can't. So the narcissists, for me, they got to go. Life's too short. For closure, I need them. For clarity, I need only myself and my own self-observation. That's a lot easier, right? Clarity comes when I step back and look at everything scientifically, like a scientist in a laboratory, like I'm peering through a microscope. I'm just studying it. I'm just observing what it's doing. And when I look at a relationship like that, impartially from a distance, like a scientist, I can go, oh, I see the pattern now. I understand what happened. I no longer need them to explain to me why they said what they did, why they did what they did. I don't need explanation from them. They'll just muddy the waters more. They'll just cause more confusion. So I don't need that at all. I'll just pull the camera back on my own and I'll study it like a scientist would study, peer through that microscope. Impartial. He doesn't care what that amoeba, he's not attached to that amoeba or that bacteria, whatever he or she is looking at. They're just studying it. Oh, that little amoeba just split in half. And it's 9:47 a.m. Okay, let me make a note of that in my logbook. He's just a scientist. He's impartial, or she is impartial. So you do that with your past relationships, study them, look for the patterns, and that changes everything. And you'll be free of it. You will begin to feel psychologically and emotionally free of that past relationship. You'll see it from a distance. You'll see it from what it was, and you'll learn from it. And then the next time somebody with these characteristics, with this pattern of behavior starts to come into your life, you just might see it before they can do any real damage. I don't need them for closure. I only need personal clarity, and clarity comes from me. The next point, I call this the narcissism checklist for them. A lot of people ask, how do I know if the person I'm dealing with is a narcissist? So let's look at a few signs. These patterns appear throughout my book, Understanding Narcissism. It's on the website. That's another book that's on the website, The Happiness Habit. But today we're talking about narcissism. So look on the website, look for my book. It's called Understanding Narcissism. That book, I'm telling you, I'm going through it again now because I'm doing the audio book. So I'm reading through it. I'm like, that book from A to Z. And there's 2 more after that. Understanding Narcissism is volume 1. There's 2 more volumes after Understanding Narcissism. It is A to Z narcissism. I mean, I'm not saying that because I wrote it. I'm saying that because it is what it is. I mean, it explains the whole thing. So is the person I'm dealing with a narcissist? Ask yourself, do they rewrite past events? This person, do they rewrite the past? Like, for example, something happens, The two of you are involved. And then later they recount what happened either to you alone or they're telling somebody else what happened and you're hearing it. And what they say, how they recount the incident is completely mixed up. And you're like, it didn't happen like that at all. Where are you getting your information from? I was there too. And why are you twisting the facts? That's what they do. They reframe everything. I'm telling you, effing nuts. The most innocuous thing, they'll be with you. Then later that day, yeah, we went over and we drove through the drive-thru and we got a cheeseburger and a Coke, and then we went over to Home Depot. And then you hear them telling somebody else what you did, and you're like, that didn't happen at all. Like they'll completely discombobulate it or whatever, twist it. That's what they do. That's why Scripture says you are of your father, the devil. The father, pardon me, you are of your father, the devil, the father of all lies. That's what they do. They lie. They lie, manipulate. I mean, because everything has to be like they have to digest everything and regurgitate everything. Like, a cow chews on grass all day, but then a cow has, 6 stomachs or something? So a cow has to regurgitate to digest everything. Catch a narcissist digesting what happened. And that's a lot of them also, they talk a lot. When you see them, they talk more than me. They talk a lot. Why? Because they want control. They're trying to control the environment, control your conversation, control you, control how they receive all of this information. My adoptive mother, she was a blabbermouth. She couldn't shut up. I mean, for 30 seconds, she couldn't shut up. I don't know how she ever made it through a movie, because she was constantly blabbing, because she had to control everything. I mean, I didn't just, fall into this yesterday. I grew up in a household of narcissists. I'm a long-time study of this crap. These degenerates, these vile, low degenerates, which is what they are. That's my conclusion. I don't know what yours is, but that's mine. There's nothing worse than a degenerate. That's as low as you can get. A degenerate is somebody who everything they do, everything they touch degenerates along with them, right? They're bad. They're bad. They couldn't tell the truth if their life depended on it. So ask yourself about this person, and you're wondering, are they a narcissist? Do they rewrite past events? Do they rarely apologize? Have you ever once heard them say, gee, sorry about that? I think my words really hurt you, and I'm sorry. And sorry means I'll never do it again. Have you ever heard that from a narcissist? You never will. No, they're not wrong. You're wrong. They're right. They have to be right. They have to be superior. They have to be dominant. They have to be number one. So if they admit fault to them, they're no longer number one. If they did something wrong, who, them? They're perfect. So does this person rarely apologize? Do they get angry when you set boundaries? Do they ignore your boundaries or run right into your boundaries or pretend your boundaries aren't there? Do they always portray themselves as either the conquering hero or the poor, pitiful victim? If If you know someone and they want to cry to you, oh, they picked on me at work, or oh, those people, you know, are they a victim? Well, there's another red flag. Guess what? Guess what you're dealing with? I'm telling you, these people, it's not just a few of them, they are legion. These devils are legion. They're everywhere. You can't throw a rock without hitting one of them, any direction you face. When you have a conversation with them, does the conversation always go back to them? You finish speaking and then they twist everything and make it about them? Right? They do that constantly. I have, to this day, I have a couple, 3 friends who are total narcissists. Not bad ones, or they wouldn't be my friend. But conversation goes to them. That's all they can talk about is themselves. So, if I like them enough, okay, I'll work with that. Does this person, you're wondering if they're a narcissist, do they punish disagreement? How dare you, Jack? How dare you disagree with the great, magnificent me? Do they punish disagreement? Here's a big one. When you try to hold them accountable to something, do they become defensive or angry or hostile or resentful? That's a red flag. Here's another one. After you have spent time with them, do you walk away feeling confused or drained or emotionally exhausted? Or you're just like, I don't feel right. What happened to me? Where am I? Right? What if you notice in your friend, that person at work or at home or wherever, the neighbor or one of your good friends, if you notice 1, maybe 2 of these things that we've just talked about, that doesn't mean much. Maybe you caught them on a bad day, but 3 or 4 of these things means a lot, because we talked about patterns matter, and repeating patterns matter. So when you start to see these characteristics, you'll get so good at this, you'll have a narcissistic checklist in your mind and you'll go, wow, they are ticking all the boxes, all of them. Then you'll go, that's a narcissist, and you'll say it to yourself clearly, and you'll go, okay, I don't need to spend any time with them. They have nothing for me. And if they're I've worked for a malignant narcissist for 7 years, but he lived in a different state. He and his company were, 6 or 8 states away from me. So it was all email with the occasional phone call. I didn't have to deal personally with his narcissism, although I didn't like him at all. Boy, because, they're a devil. When you're an angel, you're not going to like devils. And if you're an angel, I want you to start getting strong about this too, and say, you know what? This is my life, and life is short, and I don't have a lot of time, and I'm not going to waste my time having anything to do with these devils, because that's what they are. I want you to get firm like that, because the end result, if you get firm, you'll have a better life, and you'll start enjoying your life, and you're supposed to be enjoying your life, not being miserable through your life. Not having other people make you miserable through your life. I want you to get strong with this. This might be the last point of the day. The real reason you can't let go, you don't necessarily miss the person, this narcissist. You don't really miss them. What you do miss is what you hoped they might have been, because you saw them, you found them, you met them, you had ideas like he or she, boy, they could really be something for me as it relates to me. They could really be something. Boy, when the relationship is new, we're talking more like a love relationship now. And you're like, wow, they're great. I remember I fell in love. I was 24. I fell in love. And fell is the right verb. I lost myself. So that's what we miss. We miss what we think someone can become. We miss what we think my relationship with her could be, or my relationship with him. I remember I used to do contracting to not a heavy degree, but I understood, and I performed. I did contract. I've always been a writer and a photographer, but then I'd find other work in between. And I used to work on remodels. My biggest job ever was a 6,500 square foot commercial mini mall. That was when I was brought into it. It was a skeletal crew, and I was brought into it through a friend. And the goal was to remodel this entire 6,500 square foot commercial mini mall, like the kind of mini mall you see when you're driving down the street. I think this one had 8 commercial units, and with one commercial kitchen in one of the units. I mean, that thing was messed up. It needed work. And it's like God never gives you more than you can handle. But I remember looking at that. Okay, let's do it. Just let's do it. The people who purchased, they just purchased the building. They got a good deal on the building, and then they handed over 300 grand. So there was a budget, and there was a main foreman, and the main foreman, he and I got along like gangbusters. That was Terry. And Terry stood people, and Terry had done other big jobs. And Terry was like 50 at the time, 50, 54. So he was still in his physical prime, and great with people, friendly, funny. Middle of the day, Terry would bring in food, or once in a while, every 2 or 3, once a month, he knew these ladies that would come in and cook for us in that kitchen, and we'd have a fantastic meal. I mean, they would really cook, like they'd roast a turkey or whatever, bake a turkey. I mean, a meal where you're like, my God. And I was like 30, 35. That went on for a year, 13 months. Anyway, I learned a lot. I learned a lot doing that. And I got to be honest with you, I forget where we were going with that. So it's okay. It happens. So we don't miss the person itself. We missed emotionally. We miss what we hoped that person could become. We miss what we thought the relationship could be, right? The potential. I miss the potential. Oh yeah. I met another man on that job, Sean. He was fantastic. I was like, Sean, this is ending. You and I can go and be very, very, very successful. I needed Sean. But I pitch him, I go, Sean, let's go do it. Because I'm like a V8 engine. I'm like, I can push us toward things, and I can find work, and I can get clients, but I need you, because Sean had the mind that I needed. Plus, Sean was great with the guys too. Sean was a friend of Terry's. So on that job, as that job was ending, it came to me. I was like, Sean, let's keep this party going. Let's start working together. I can find work. And I just, whatever. But I'm saying potential. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes relationships end up this way. Or maybe there's a reason that never happened. There's always that too. But anyway, what we miss is the answers from these people. We never got those answers. They never answered the questions, did they? They left us in a state of confusion. We miss also the version of the relationship that existed mostly in my mind, my own imagination. That's what we miss too. So these are all things that actually happen. So sometimes we don't let go of the person. We struggle to let go of the possibility of what could have been. Sean and I could have really we could have skyrocketed, but he wasn't into it for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? That's what we struggle with. We struggle to let go of the possibility of what could have been. But a lot of times, fate, nature, God steps in and says, nope, I don't want you going that way. I know you're crying now. I know you're really hurting, but I don't want you going that way. So I'm going to close that door and open another one. That's why, like, when you get fired from a job or a relationship ends or whatever happens, we kind of have to just sit. What is it? Be still and know that I am God, right? Remember that one? I think it's one of the Proverbs. Be still and know that I am God. Like, no matter what happens in life, okay, that's not meant to work out. I don't know why at this point, but one day maybe I will understand. Maybe understanding will come to me. Okay. So when your relationship with a narcissist ends, you realize, it dawns on you and me that I was having a relationship with someone who wasn't even there. They were empty and hollow inside. They were a ghost. I was having a relationship with a ghost. And maybe it was a love relationship, maybe a work relationship, maybe a neighbor relationship, whatever it was. I thought they were real. In reality, they were a ghost. In India, the people in India, the country of India, the Indian people call narcissists hungry ghosts. And to me, that's very fitting, because that's exactly what they are. They're hungry. They're hungry for your emotions. Remember, we said emotions are the currency. Emotions are the currency. So no emotion, no transaction. Nothing's going to happen unless I inject the currency into the transaction, and the currency is emotion. So if I keep emotion out of the transaction, there's no transaction. It's just the relaying of information. Maybe my boss is a narcissist. He needs something. Okay, here it is. I'm done. I didn't interact with him at all. Here it is. So the Indians call these people hungry ghosts, and they're hungry. They're ravenous. They always need emotion, and they're ghosts because they're not real. They're hollow. They're empty inside. They only appear to be real. So if that isn't demonic, if that isn't satanic, you tell me what is. Because that's the definition of something that's evil. It's appearing to be something it's not. So I had anytime I've related with a narcissist, even I didn't know they were a narcissist. I didn't know what the word was. That means I had a relationship with somebody who was never even there. The lights were on, but nobody was home. And that describes the relationship that I had with my adoptive mother. My mom. That's my mom. It's the only one I'll ever have in this lifetime. But for some reason, God, nature connected me with these people. Her really screwed up husband. My poor mom, bless her, was a narcissist. She died, 4 or 5 months ago. She died in May 4th. May, June, July. 2 months ago, she died. Yesterday, 2 months ago. I was never close to her. I'd go see her, I'd say hi to her, talk to her, whatever. But we weren't close. It's tough. You have a narcissistic parent. Wait a minute. You're supposed to effing raise me. How come I never got raised? Who was going to raise me if not you? Nobody. So anyway, there's a little bit of personal stuff. But we got to close. And I want to leave you with at least one thought. You do not need to understand every detail of what happened. Your relationship with the narcissist, you don't need to understand it. Like a Rubik's Cube, if it's all jumbled up. So, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to try to solve it. Okay. And I spend all this time and energy trying to solve it. God, I can't solve this thing. Well, maybe that Rubik's Cube is unsolvable for me. Some, on YouTube, they got these kids, they give them a Rubik's Cube and give him 3 seconds and he solves it. But that's not me, because I've never taken the time to figure out how to do it. And honestly, I don't care. So what do you do with the Rubik's Cube instead of wasting all that time and energy trying to solve it? You throw it in the trash can, okay? You bin it, as they say in England. You bin it, B-I-N. You bin it. Bin, B-I-N. What a great word. So you don't need to understand every detail of what happened from these lowlifes. And that's what they are. They're low. God, is there anything lower than the devil? You don't need an apology. And you know what? Start using words. Start calling things what they are. Don't be shocked by words. Well, be rightly shocked by words. If you're shocked by my use of the word devil, be rightly shocked. Go, you know what? Why am I associating with the devil? Why am I punishing myself? Why do I enjoy my pain? I must enjoy my pain to the extent that I do if I keep associating with these people who hurt me. I don't care if I'm married or not. Well, I'm married. Okay, now I'm not married. And throw that in the trash can too. Say, look, I made a mistake getting involved with you. I didn't see it coming. I didn't see what she was until we were living here together, until after the dun, 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 and 10 years of marriage. And I'm telling you, February, and I was like, I won't make summer. And that was 3 years ago. I won't make summer if she stays here. That's how I felt in February. I was literally effing dying. And so we had it out. I said, you got to go. It was 8 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. And we had it out. And she loaded all her stuff. She made a big pile of her stuff right here in the middle of the living room floor. And put everything in trash bags and boxes. Walked out. Went home. And I sat there on the couch and I'm like, oh my God, what a nightmare, But that's Johnny Carson. They say Johnny Carson would say he was married and divorced 3 or 4 times. I think 4 times. And Johnny would go, why is divorce so expensive? Because it's worth it. Right? That's Johnny. It was worth it to get his freedom back, his autonomy, his personal freedom. Okay. So these narcissists are legion. You don't need to understand every detail of what happened. You don't need an apology from them. You don't need their agreement. You do not need closure from them. You need clarity from you. Clarity begins when you stop asking, why can't I stop thinking about them? Don't ask that question. Ask this question. What am I still hoping to get from this person that they were never able to give? What am I still hoping to get from this person that they were never able to give? That question might change your life. What am I still hoping to get from this person that they were never able to give? They didn't have it in them. A ghost has nothing in them. Okay? So my name's Jack Carter, and I will see you next Sunday.